Today, my dear students, I am going to teach you lesson 7, the Magic Fishbone, from your textbook lessons. It is at page 66. Here the writer is Charles Dickens, and when I utter the name Charles Dickens, some of you can imagine the writer, because I think most of you know a little about Charles Dickens or Dickens. His full name is Charles John Huffman Dickens, popularly known as Charles Dickens, was a British writer. He was born in 1812 and died in 1870. His notable works are Oliver Twist, A Christmas Carol, A Tale of Two Cities, and David Copperfield. All these are novels, and I think most of you have read the novel in an edited form known as David Copperfield. During his lifetime and even present times, his works have always enjoyed great popularity. That is, he attained great popularity during his time and now also. His works have always enjoyed great popularity. That is, he was very popular among his readers, and he is generally regarded as the greatest novelist of the Victorian period. The persons who, or the writers who write novels, are called novelists. In that sense, Charles Dickens was a novelist. Not only that, here the demand is made that he may be acclaimed as the greatest novelist of the Victorian period. Here we have got a term, Victorian period. You know that Queen Victoria was the Queen of England from 20th June 1837 till her death on 22nd January 1901. In addition to it, she was also honored with the Empress of India, or additional charge of Empress of India, from 1st May 1876. And her reign is called the Victorian period. Charles Dickens belonged to this Victorian period, and Victorian period was famous for the enrichment of novels. The present text is an adaptation from his popular short story, The Magic Fishbone. The present story which we are going to read is the adaptation of his famous short story of the same name, The Magic Fishbone. There was once a king, and he had a queen. Now we are going to read about the story of a king along with a queen. There was a king, or a king ruled over a country, and he had a queen. They had several children. The king and the queen had several children, or they were the parents of many children. Alicia was the eldest, who looked after the other children. Their eldest child was Alicia, and it was her responsibility to take care of other children. The king was in his private profession under the government. The king was engaged in his private profession, private occupation under the government of that particular country. The queen's father had been a medical man out of town. The queen's father had been engaged in medical profession and he stayed out of the town. Now we are starting the second paragraph of Unit 1. One day the king was going to the office when he stopped at the fishmonger's shop. One day an incident happened and the rest of the story would revolve around this very incident. So let us see what happened on that particular day. One day the king was going to his office. One day the king was on the way of his office when he stopped at the fishmonger's shop. On his officeward journey, he halted at the fish seller's shop. Certainly there was purpose behind his stoppage there. He needed to buy a pound and a half of salmon which the queen had requested him to send home. The king was requested by the queen to send a pound and half salmon fish. Salmon is a type of fish and pound is a unit of measurement or mass measurement. It was used particularly in England or Britain. The queen required to purchase 1.5 pound or a pound and half of salmon because the queen asked him to send home. He had not proceeded far after finishing his shopping when the fishmonger's errand boy came running after him. Immediately after the completion of the shopping at the fishmonger's shop or fish seller's shop, the king had started to proceed or move forward. At that very moment, the fish seller's boy, errand boy, that is a boy who works in a shop and his duty is to carry out or execute the order by the owner, appeared there rushing after him. He said, that is the boy said, "Sir, you didn't notice the old lady in our shop." The boy wanted to know if the king had not noticed the old lady remaining in their shop. "What old lady?" inquired the king. The idea of the old lady was unthinkable to the king. That's why he inquired which lady the boy indicated. "I saw none." Then he negatively answered that he did not notice anybody there. Now the king had not seen any old lady because she had been invisible to him. Here the reality was that the king was unable to see any old lady because the old lady remained invisible or unseen to him, though visible to the fishmonger's boy. Though this very old lady or the old lady was seen to the fishmonger's or fish seller's boy. Boys and girls, I think you are now feeling very curious to know what happens after that. Let us see what happens there in the second unit of the text. Let us start Unit 2 of the story. Just then the old lady came trotting off. At that very moment, the old lady described or indicated by the errand boy of the fish seller came there or appeared there walking with speed. She was dressed in short silk of the richest quality. You know that silk is one kind of cloth, and here the old lady put on a short silk of its highest quality or richest quality. King Watkins the first, I believe, on her own accord, the old lady called the king by his name, King Watkins. So, from this very line we get the information that the name of the king was King Watkins. Watkins replied, "The king is my name." Then he nodded or responded to the old lady by saying that his name was Watkins, or it is one kind of acknowledgement from the king's end that the old lady had truly identified him as King Watkins. "Papa of the beautiful Princess Alicia?" the old lady asked. The old lady continued his query by saying that certainly he was the father of the nice princess named Alicia. We have already got the information that the eldest child of the king and the queen was known as Alicia. "Yes," King Watkins replied. Once again the king positively answered that he was the father of beautiful Princess Alicia. "You are going to the office," said the old lady. There remained another astonishment for the king. The old lady knew that the king was on his way to his office. It instantly flashed upon the king that she must be a fairy, or how could she know that? Then at once there was a flashing in the king's mind that the old lady must be a fairy. You know who fairies are. They are imagined as the winged beautiful lady. They could fly, they could go from one place to another, and their primary duty is to do the well for human beings. You might have heard fine fairy tales from your elders. Or how could she know that otherwise it was not possible for the old lady to tell him all the correct information regarding the king? "You are right," said the old lady, answering his thoughts. There were thoughts in the mind of the king, and the old lady could read it. Here the old lady acknowledged the thoughts of the king by saying that he had thought rightly. "I am the good fairy Grandmarina." She was she identified herself as the good fairy Grandmarina. "Listen." Then she advised the king to listen to her. "When you return home to dinner," it was supposed that the king would return home to have a dinner, "invite the Princess Alicia to have some of the salmon you bought just now. Then you should require to invite Princess Alicia to have or to eat a bit of salmon which you have just bought. When the beautiful princess finishes eating, you will find she will leave a fish bone on her plate. After the finishing of eating of a bit of salmon fish, you will find that the Princess Alicia would certainly leave a fish bone on her plate. Tell her to dry it. Then the king was advised to tell Princess Alicia to make it dry in the sunshine, to rub it and give a polish to it till it glistens or glitters or shines like mother of pearl. Mother of pearl means inner layer of a shell. Ask her to take care of it as a present from me. Not only that, the old lady also told the king to mention to Alicia that it was a present, it was an offer from the part of the old lady for Alicia. Now let us start the remaining part of Unit 2. Is that all? Asked the king. The king wanted to know if that was all for King's daughter, Princess Alicia, or if that was all the old lady meant. Tell the Princess Alicia with my love that the fishbone is a magic present which can be used only once. There was another advice from the part of the old lady for Princess Alicia with a love from her that this or that fishbone was a magic present and it could be used only once, only one time. It will bring her only once what she wishes for, provided she wishes for it at the right time. If the fortune of the or as the gift of this magic offer, the princess would attain what she wished, but once again it should be remembered that she would get a chance for only one time. This is the message, take care of it. This was the message from the part of the old lady or good fairy Grandmarina. Once again the old lady advised the king to take care of it. Now we are reading the concluding paragraph of this unit 2. With those words, Grandmarina vanished. You know that the fairies appear in order to tell what they wish to tell, and after their aim is over, they vanished, they disappeared. Here the same thing happens. After passing those words, good fairy Grandmarina vanished, disappeared. The king went on and on. The king continued his journey till he came to his office, till he reached his destination, that is his office. There he wrote and wrote and wrote. The repetition of the same verb indicates that the subject is continuing the same thing or continuation of the same thing, till it was time to go home again. The King was thinking over the incident till the time of his departure from the office and time to go back home. Then he invited the Princess Alicia as the fairy had directed him to take the salmon. After returning home, he followed or executed the advice given by the fairy. He invited the Princess Alicia to take a bit of salmon fish. And then she had enjoyed it very much. The Princess Alicia relished the salmon fish very much. He saw the fish bone on her plate. The king could see a fish bone left by Princess Alicia as expected and told by the fairy, and delivered the fairy's message. Then the king passed the message to Princess Alicia given by the good fairy Grandmarina. Princess Alicia took care to dry the bone and to rub it and to polish it till it shone like mother of pearl, as directed by his father, or as narrated by her father. Princess Alicia took care of or looked after the bone to make it dry, to rub it, that is scratch now and then, and polish it till it shone, it glistened, it glittered like mother of pearl. Mother of pearl refers to the inner layer of shell.